All right, everyone. So you're probably wondering what I'm doing in this chair. It is a podcast just to get it out the way. I really believe that we have been building something really special in Dallas, and I think it's worth sharing. Not just like what we've built, but more importantly, how we've built it. And to start off, I just want to introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, my name is Marco. I live here in Dallas. I've lived here for like 20 something years. Don't try to guess my age, but just know my brothers think I'm an unk, and that should tell you enough. And 27, my background is in physical therapy. I also do graphic design. I also do graphic design as a freelancer, and I live in the Bishop Arts area. Super cool. And last year in April, I started Cairo's Run Club here in Dallas. We meet near Trinity Groves. And more importantly, I want to tell you how I did it and why I feel that you should hear the story, because I think if you hear the story, you'll be able to apply some of the concepts that I used to launch or start any endeavor in your life that you've been putting on hold. And so my whole life, I grew up very fearful. I've always been very extroverted, outgoing, but there was always this fear of what I call like fear of man, what you hear a lot of the times. And it just means that you're thinking all the time about what others are thinking about you. And so you're never really free to do what you want to do. And so the way that I overcame it was it was in 2024. I removed myself from a friend group that I didn't feel was being beneficial to my life. And I started to do things alone. I took up running at Oak Cliff Run Crew in Dallas, and I just started to find ways to like spend my time alone and like learning how to be alone. And I started traveling. I was going a lot to the West Coast, Washington, California. Not Washington, California, but the state of Washington and the state of California. But on one of those trips, I remember my friend we were near San Francisco. He took me to this beautiful mountain that was like at eye level with the clouds. And I just remember being there. And obviously we live in Texas. Everything is so flat. I just remember looking out and thinking, what am I doing with my life in Dallas? Like, why am I so concerned? Why am I so worried about what people think about when I post, what people say? It doesn't matter. Places like this exist. I shouldn't be concerned. And I can genuinely say that being in that environment like shifted the way that I saw life. I was able to bring that back to Dallas, that same mindset. And then I just started posting. I remember I met up with my friend Baba, shout out Baba. And I was like, hey dude, I just want to start doing like content. I want to kind of like make a brand. I just want to do something. I feel like my whole life I've just been consuming, but I've never had the guts to create. And I remember we met up one day and I was like, here's what I want to do. We made an outline. And schedules just got really busy and we never really followed up, but I still kept that same like plot in my mind. And I just started posting. I started posting like vlogs, started posting on my stories, started posting like silly TikToks. And I remember that being like the first thing that I had to conquer is like being cringe. I think feeling cringe or embarrassed is like an underexplored emotion. And the biggest thing that I would say, my two biggest influences during this time were Alex Hormozy and Michael Smoke from Higher Up Wellness. And they're really big on execution and not really. So that being said, like I've always been a perfectionist. They're very much for imperfect action, which if you hear that, you're like, that sounds horrible. Like you're not going to plan. But the whole idea is like someone that doesn't plan as much and just executes actually gets much more done than someone that's just always in their mind, always plotting, but never actually doing anything. So even this podcast, like I've never been on a podcast. I wrote a few notes a few minutes before, because if I spend my whole day just in weeks plotting, but I never do it, I'll never get good at it. It'll never grow. It'll never make any sort of impact. And so if there's anything in your life that you're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, but you just think about it and do nothing, someone that's actually less intelligent or less capable, less qualified than you is actually doing what you want to do because they're acting on it. They're actually living out your dream. And so whenever I got back from those trips, obviously like my mindset was different and I wanted to create something. I remember I spammed Hormozy for like months. I spammed him for like a month or two. And I was like, okay, I've consumed a lot. I need to create. And I remember around that time, I obviously took up running. In February is when I started posting on my story about a run club. I didn't have a name, I didn't have anything, but I really wanted to learn what it felt like to lose or to like fail. And so I remember posting on my story, like, hey guys, if I started a run club, who would come out? Like, and you get like 20 people saying yes. The day of, no one shows up. But I remember I almost like wanted it to happen that way, because if it just happened overnight, there would be like no lesson. There would be nothing that is actually relatable to another human being. So for, I think 2 months, I posted, hey, come run on Fridays. Fridays at 2 p.m. Mind you, I picked a horrible time to do it. Like, who's going to be unemployed at 2 p.m.? Actually, I would show up. But a few people came, not really a lot of traction, even my friends. Like, it was just not working out. And eventually, I built up like a callus to like people not supporting, not because you're like mad about it, but you're just like, it's not always going to go your way, right? So then finally in April, I was like, you know what? I'm going to relaunch and revamp. I'm going to just redo this, right? Picked a different day, a different place. And I want to talk about option paralysis, because even when I picked the name Kairos, the thought is like, okay, what if I pick the wrong name? Like, what if I don't pick the best name possible? Like, what if I don't pick the best job? What if I don't pick the best place to live, the best city, the best person? Like, there's always the fear that I'm not going to pick the best thing, and I'm going to miss out on something, like FOMO. But I thought, no, if I pick a name and I full send that name and I love that name, everyone else will rock with it, because it's not about them. You don't create for them, you create for you. And if you believe in it, then everyone else will believe in it. And even if they don't, who cares? That's not the point. So I remember thinking, okay, I already failed one time about the run club. I do not care failing again. So I remember I drove home one day. I just gotten off from work. It was like a Tuesday, and I was still in my work clothes. And I put up my phone on my in my car, and I just made a quick TikTok saying like, "Hey guys, I'm starting a run club in Dallas. Come out tomorrow at 7 p.m." Mind you, I have no plans. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like winging it. And I post it, and the video gets like, I don't know, like 50,000 views. And I'm like, oh my God, like we made it. We're going to make it out of Oak Cliff, bro. And the next day, only 8 people show up. But the most I ever got from my original attempt was 4. So I actually doubled my numbers, and that was crazy to me. And I was okay, like, let's keep posting. We're doing something, right? I picked a name, I full sent it, and eventually like people started showing up. The next week there was like 30, and then 50, and then like 100, and then like exponentially it just continued to grow. We obviously like built a strong community. Like, all my best friends now that I know have come from the run club, and it's just been crazy. Like, if I never posted that video, like, I wouldn't be here. But then if I'd never taken those trips, I wouldn't be here. And if I had never removed myself from those groups, then I wouldn't be here. And if I had never taken those steps, like, it's all tiny little things that you need to do to get you to where you need to be. And so I want to explain the name Kairos. Kairos is actually a Greek word, and it means the right time, divine timing, the perfect moment. And the whole premise is that most people wait their whole lives for like, it has to be like this. Things have to line up. This has to look this way. But if you're living in a Kairos mindset, every moment is always the perfect moment. All we have really is this moment, because you can plan for the future. You can plan for 20 years from now, 30 years from now. You can think about the past, but that's done. All you really, really have is like this moment. And if you execute this moment, then that is your best possible chance at success. So one of the ways that I was able to implement like this Kairos lifestyle was even in like what I do for work and like how I spend my time. So growing up, I was always, I come from a Hispanic family. You got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be successful. So I got my doctorate in physical therapy, did the whole school thing for like, I was in school from 2017 to like, coming out of high school. And then I didn't graduate till 2023. So I was in school for a long time, and I just thought, if I can just get my degree and like start making money, then I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to have Like I thought I was gonna make it, right? But then I start the run club and start to meet so many people and start to talk about, taking the risk with people and start talking about life with people. And it starts to really resonate with me and how my whole purpose in life is actually to build community and to build other people up. And also the creative side of that. And so my whole life, it's been very squared. And so the concept of doing something creative is very new to me. Like I needed to learn it from a textbook, from like a book that's already been written for me to get it. But then I started to, obviously with creating an Instagram and like a run club, there's like marketing, there's like branding involved. And so I was like, okay, like I want to learn about this. And I literally started with posting like ChatGPT flyers, because I didn't have any experience. I just needed to make something. And I spammed ChatGPT, I was paying the premium for like a couple months. And then I met Noble, shout out Noble from Oak Cliff Run Crew. And he is a graphic designer. He does a bunch of like creative work here in Dallas, but he helped me design the logo and he was making the flyers for a while. And it was amazing. I was like, it was crazy to me that I could send him like inspo and then he would just recreate something like unique based off of that. And I was like, man, that's so crazy. So over time, I started to kind of like develop like an eye for things. And I remember I did this one challenge when I started the run club where it was like, if I'm telling people to take risks, like what kind of risks am I taking in my life? So I thought about like where I was going to church, where I was working, and then where I was living. So at the time I was living with my parents, and I was like, well, I have no need to move out, but I just want to do it because it's like, I want to grow. And so I remember I moved out, and around the same time that I moved out, obviously my budget got a little tighter. I don't know if this is TMI. I don't care if it's TMI. Someone will relate to this. I was like, my budget was tighter. So I was like, okay, I can't really spend as much on like creative work. What if I started to do it myself? And I was like, oh, dude, like I'm just going to send it. Like, who cares? I'm going to try it. And so I remember I bought Photoshop. I think it was like $100 when I bought it. And I didn't use it for like a good minute. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go at it, bro. So got on Photoshop, saw some quick tutorials, learn how to make things blurry and like texts and fonts. And I was like, okay, like I can put some fonts together and like some cool backgrounds. And then slowly started to like put in reps. So it was almost like I put myself against the wall of like, this has to work or it has to work. So like the Wednesday flyers were like, that was my job. That was my duty. So every Wednesday was like a new opportunity to put in a rep. And so I was like, if I can put in reps, like I can get good at it. So I remember just started pumping out flyers, for any event that we made. And then just like, I genuinely like took over that work and I handle that like independently now. So much so that like now I'm doing stuff like freelance for other people. And I'm like, if I didn't just buy Photoshop, like I would have never been doing this. Like it's crazy. And even that world of like creativity where there's not really rules per se, and there's not really like, there's no like lines that you have to stick by. That was so foreign to me because I'd always lived by the textbook and like the rules and like, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. Nothing wrong with that, but I think you need to have both. If you're someone that's very much in their head all the time and you're a thinker, that's great, but you don't execute, where there's chaos, you need to hang around people that are more like extroverted and like free spirited and like don't really care as much, because then they're able to bring that side of you that is like scared and afraid. So even like my friend AJ, he actually introduced me to running. He's very much like let's just go with the flow. And his main phrase was always like, we're chilling. Like, we would be like in some like messed up situation, like we're cooked and everyone's freaking out, but he's like, no, we're chilling. And we're like, no, like we're not chilling. But you need those people in your life to kind of bring you back from that mindset of perfection. And it's actually like, no, like it's going to be fine. Like we're going to get through it. And where's I going with this? Yes. Like even now what I do for work, I no longer have a 9 to 5. I do freelance like PT and graphic design. And if you would have told me that a year ago, I would have been like, that's so scary. Like that's so unsafe. But now I have so much freedom And it is scary, but it's like, do I want to live in fear my whole life? Do I want to live by like what society tells me, what like the expectations of family, of friends, of whatever? Or do I want to do whatever is like burning inside of me? And so even at the run club, like we always say, ask out that girl. And I actually took that from Alex Hermosi. Ask out that girl, start the business, move out, move cities, use your free will. And even like the name of this podcast is going to be free will. It's going to include free will because you have free will like you think you do. But when was the last time you posted something that scared you, or you made a decision that you were like, this is kind of ballsy. Like, I don't even know if this will succeed. But the whole premise of this podcast and this concept is to bring people that can share their story so you can hear it and think they're normal people, like just like me, but they're able to overcome this huge thing. And so you can take action in your life. So I'm bringing people that have quit their jobs 100%, unemployed people, people that have moved out from their city, people that have left like relationships that were bad for them, friendships that were bad for them, and are now in a better position because they were willing to tap into that fear and just be like, you know what, I'm going to use my free will. And like, I don't really know what's going to happen next, but I'm going to trust the process. And so I'm going to have Kevin, maybe in a few days, he's going to share his story. But I also just want to shout out the whole way that this is being possible is through my buddies Mike and George. Shout out to them. They're here at 6 Point Studio in Irving. And so I want you guys to check them out because their space is new. It's ready to be used. And if you're a creative that is wanting to do like studio work, like this is the spot. Like these guys are so chill, so accessible. You need to come check them out. They're going to be tagged. I'm going to put all their information, but I just want to shout them out. Yeah, like some of the experiences I've been able to live because of taking these risks. Like I've been to Hawaii. Mind you, I've traveled with like people from the run club and we've done marathons, like travel marathons. We went to Hawaii, we went to Austin. The guys are going to San Diego next week. Like if you just can't just live your life for your job. Like there has to be more to your life than like going to school, getting a job, getting married, but then like you're going to wait till you're 65 and retire to do fun things, like to actually enjoy life. I think life needs to be enjoyed right now. And if you don't have it all figured out, like that's fine. If you feel like you're the type of person that you're like waiting for a sign to do this, to like, oh, I want to start that Pilates studio, or like I want to start posting, like I want to start, bro, like you are going to die. You are going to die one day. And one of the biggest things that I would think about when I was doing all this was this picture of me being like 90, 95, hopefully 100, on my deathbed and thinking, frick, I should have just gone for it. Like, can you imagine? Just pause for a second. Imagine you are on your deathbed. It's so wraps, bro. Your doctor's saying it's wraps. Your family's there, and you think of all the opportunities you could have taken, all the shots, but you were too afraid. You were too concerned with your family members, your friends, people that follow you on Instagram that don't care about you, that don't know who you are. And you decided not to do it. And that feeling of regret, just like choking you, has got to be the worst experience that any human could have. Because oftentimes our biggest regrets come not from what we did, but from what we didn't do. Because that's time that is lost. Like you can regain those moments again. And so I encourage you, if you have something on your heart, even if you have nothing on your heart, you're like, I'm lost. Use your free will and try everything. Try absolutely everything. Just do it once and do not live a linear life. Like, dude, I make even going to a coffee shop a whole adventure to where people enjoy what I post because it's like, I'm just having fun, bro. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, I don't think you're living a life that's worth, not that it's not worth living, but it's like you're not living the life that you could live. If you just remove yourself from your head, get out of your head, get out of the box that you've put yourself in, or society, whatever you want to call it, and do something risky for once. Like when was the last time you went up to a stranger and just had a conversation? When's the last time you went to a movie theater by yourself? When's the last time you took a solo trip? If you can't be alone, why should anyone be with you? Like I literally had to come to that realization myself, where I was like, okay, why am I so afraid of being alone? Like why is the concept of rejection so strong in my life? I took a solo trip for 5-6 days, came back a new man, because I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty fun to be with. I like that guy. So then I came back and I was like, why wouldn't anyone want to hang out with me? Like I like to have fun with myself. Pause. That sounds really weird. You got to cut that out. I got to cut that out. Yeah, let's just keep going. How you view yourself, the way that a man thinks about himself, that is 100% true. So if you're thinking I'm going to fail, no one's going to support me, like I don't have what it takes, you're 100% right. But I love meeting delusional people. I love meeting people that are so lost in their sauce that they're like, you're like, you know what? Like this guy is crazy. Like I believe in it. I just encourage you to be a little bit crazier, a little bit more loose, a little bit riskier in your decision making, because most of us have been conditioned to live like these cookie cutter lifestyles, and I don't think it's benefiting anyone. Like there is someone out there that needs to hear what you have to say. That's why I really believe in like everyone should be posting, because there is something unique about you, about your background or about your upbringing and about whatever you've traveled through that someone else needs to hear to get out of their situation. So that's why, that's why we're here, because I really think that there's someone that can relate to me, a 27-year-old, upper 20s, a little older, that doesn't have it all figured out, that's still learning, that's still investing in themselves, that's still trying to figure out what they're going to do. And it's totally cool if you don't know where you're going. It's totally cool. That's another reason why I love running so much, is that it's not so much about the direction, it's about the forward momentum. So if you feel lost in this moment about where you're going in life, but you're not even taking any steps, there's no amount of guidance I could give you, because you're not even moving. You're not even taking steps at all. So take some steps, post some stories, post some TikToks, talk to some strangers, just shoot your shot. Who cares if you get rejected? Like genuinely, who cares? No one's looking at you. Yep, I think this is where we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to bring our first guest. It's going to be amazing. But come to Kairos every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Follow our Instagram and follow 6 Point Studios. Shout out Mike and George. They're killing it. And we're going to be here a few more times and making some cool content. But be yourself no matter what. Take the risk. Post a story. Post a TikTok. Just do something that scares you. If it scares you, you're supposed to do it. Behind every fear is like a new opportunity, a new door. My friend Bert, his mom is like crazy wise, and she has this saying in Spanish that says, this is talking about money, but it says, detrás del miedo está el dinero, or like behind fear, like there's money. So just replace money with like opportunity. Behind every scared emotion or feeling of rejection or whatever, there's an opportunity for you to grow as a human being in your creativity, in your craft, in your work, in your mindset. And so take the risk, ask the girl, post a TikTok, shoot your shot. You're going to die. We're all going to die. And you don't want to live with regret on your deathbed. I know for sure I will not. I don't mind being cringe. I don't mind being embarrassed, because I'm giving it my all, and I hope that you do as well. So we'll see you the next time. This is it. That's wraps. Are we good? Let's go. Shout out Rick Rubin, the GOAT. We'll talk about him next time.